buses, the whole 9 yards. And I can tell you, nothing could be further from the truth. We have to operate differently, and the reason we have to operate differently is because of the changes brought on by this COVID pandemic. This schedule is what is going to drive the block changes, for example. It's a shortened day. And when you shorten the day, then you have less time to do different things in between. That's one thing to realize and understand. The other thing to realize and understand is there's some things that we typically do on a daily basis that we're not going to do. For example, shuttles. Shuttles aren't there. Sports trips, they're not there. Field trips, they're not there. Gifted child programs, taking a middle schooler to the high school and elementary to the middle school and back and forth. None of those are there. And to top that off, you have the effect of opting in to in-class attendance, or opting out of that and opted into an online, or what they're referring to as CVL, or computer virtual learning environment. All those things have an effect on how we have to package and reimagine the routing process. All right. Unfortunately, again, from what I'm hearing through the grapevine and what I'm hearing through the union, is that some of you are unwilling to accept this reality, and it's unfortunate. I really, and I may be speaking to the choir here, because those of you here, you're invested in your time to learn, but I'm sure there are others out there that simply don't care. And I would suggest to those who don't care to really check that attitude and snap back to, because we are going to implement these changes with or without those folks. It's as simple as that. And the choice is really theirs, it's not mine. I have to do, and our team here has to do what they need to do to meet the guidance that's been laid out by the federal and state governments and their departments. We have no choice in the matter. So there are some questions that were brought out, and that I want to go over them from my perspective. So the first question, what are and how many hours are available for bid? The master sheet, which will be available to you no later than the first thing a.m. August the 17th, which is this coming Monday. I'm hoping we can get it out to you by Friday, but if not, by Monday. We'll have all this detailed information, and you'll be able to see how many 8 hours there are and 7 3/4 hours, and all the way down to probably 2-hour blocks. I can tell you, as of the 10th of August, we have 181 total benefited block days. That's 4 hours or more. So pretty much what we had last year, very, very close to it. Another question being asked, what is the amount of time between each run and end of the day for cleaning of the buses, and how and who is going to be doing that? So this question, if you're on the last Google Meet we held, was answered already. And I've already answered that actually in 1 or 2 emails. So this is really a 2-part question. And what we're going to do is, for your entire day, we're going to give you 15 additional minutes. That's for the entire day. Now, we know between runs, for the most part, there's some downtime, and you're being paid for that already. So a combination of the 15 minutes plus the downtime is what you're going to use in between runs, not before and not after your last morning run, and not before and not after your last late afternoon run. This is in between runs. You're going to quickly wipe down the interior of the bus of those areas that are highly touched by students. You're going to do it. And if you're a driver who has a bus attendant on there, you'll both do that. It doesn't take long. We've already shared with everybody a video on how to go about doing that. So, again, I'm hearing that people don't know, and, who's going to do it, and they don't know how to do it or what we're doing. I covered that already. Go back and view the videos on these topics. I told you we're using the Q128, a disinfectant product. That's 1 ounce product, and we, if you have your mic on, please mute it. We take 1 ounce of that product, and we mix it with a gallon of water. that mixture is used in both the spray bottles and in the Anastasia, can you mute that person?
Al, I do not have the ability to mute the staff member. I'm not the owner of the meeting.
Well, let's see here. Well, you were able last time.
I wish I could. I'm
Okay,
just going to try.
I got it. Let me see who else got it on.
I'm also being told that a staff are having a hard time viewing your presentation. My suggestion to the staff is if you only see Al's icon, you may have his face pinned. So click on his face. If you have it pinned, you will only see his face, not his presentation. We are not IT. My only other suggestion would be to log off and re-log back into the meeting.
Very good, thank you. Okay, so again, the bit sheet will have all this information on, you know, what the hour is going to be. Clean and how to clean, we've addressed that already. There's a video on there. If you need the link to that, email me personally and I will send you a link to that video. Again, I want to reiterate, at the end of the morning runs, when they're all done, you will go park the bus. Unlike what we're doing for the summer, this is in September, go park your bus, and then we will have either mechanics or other trained personnel go out there and hit all the buses that we're using in the morning with the sanitizing machine, and we will do that again at the end of the day, and that will be for every school day that we are in session. Okay, the other question, will all transportation be required, provided masks and gloves, and trained in the cleaning process? Let me take the last part. I just talked about the cleaning process. There really is no training. It's a spray bottle. All you got to do is spray down those highly touched areas and wipe down with a rag. That's all you need to do. Doesn't take a rocket scientist. You don't need to put on, you know, coveralls and you know, air breathers and all that. Mask, you got to have it on if you're on the bus. You already have it on, so you simply hit that with the spray and then wipe it down. It's non-toxic. It's already been diluted. We're not using it full strength. That again, it's called the Ultra Q128. It is not and should not be a problem for you. So we covered that already. Let me talk about the mask and gloves, right? So everybody will be issued a Shen mask. You can wash that and reuse it on a daily basis. A lot of you have your own. You can certainly wear those face coverings that you have either made yourself or bought them, or however you got them, right? Maybe got them from your birthday present. I don't know. But you certainly can wear those. Gloves are always available, and we do have gloves available here. Face shields, we will only give out face shields on a case-by-case basis based on the students you're working with, right? So if you have a spitter, for example, a student who likes to spit a lot, then we will encourage you to wear that face shield. You cannot wear just the face shield. It has to be in combination with the face covering. Very important point to remember. The shield by itself will do you no good. It has to be in combination with that face covering. Wearing face covering and wearing it properly is extremely important. And I'm going to say some harsh words here as I talk about this topic. So we had some incidents this summer, which I am not happy with, to be honest with you, and I will not tolerate come September and beyond that. So we had employees who did not wear face covering, or they did not wear it properly. Wearing the face covering over your mouth and keeping your nose exposed to the air, you might as well take that mask off. It's doing you no good. Remember that point. The other point I want to make is that if you don't follow these directives about face covering, especially face covering, and I'm gonna up the ante now, right? I'm gonna say with or without passengers. If you're in this building, or if you are on a Shen school bus, you will wear a face covering at all times. If I can't trust people to get in that bus and do what's required, Now I'm going to tighten the screws a little bit and make sure that you fully understand. If you're not wearing that face mask, you are, in fact, you will be, and I will do everything I can, right? You'll be violating Section 47C3 of your contract. You will be endangering the safety, welfare, and health of students, staff, and the public, to be honest with you. And that is not the point that I want you all to end up at. That's not a place I want you to end up at. We are all adults here. We got a job to do, and we got to work together, elbow to elbow, right? We got to follow the rules just like you, and I expect you to do that. And the reason I'm being hard on this is because I'm also hearing from other people that are coming to me saying, so-and-so is saying they're refusing. They're not going to do this and they're going to do that in the bus. Okay, I'm going to leave that. But when I see it on that video, all bets are off, my friends. And I don't care how long you've been here, 1 day or 100 years, don't care how long you've been here. That is not a threat. That is simply telling you there are consequences to actions. I don't want to see anyone get sick. I don't want to see anyone catch this virus. I don't want students to catch it. I don't want you to take it home to your elderly parents, family members, whatever, and have them catch it. So if you're not mature and professional enough to do that on your own, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure you do it here, or otherwise you won't be here. It's simple. There are no other choices in the matter. So I'm going to get off this topic now and move on to the next one. As I alluded to earlier, the blocks are going to change. Again, what's driving that change, the majority of that is the compressed daily schedule, mandates, right? Guidance that have come down that says where possible, social distance. So, for example, we've always operated small buses for kindergartners. That may not be the case this year on some of these runs. Where we can spread the students out, we're going to do that. And where we can't, then we can't, and we got to make sure everybody's wearing face covering because that's what's required by guidance. So don't be surprised if you get a noon run and you're in a large bus. If your skills have atrophied because you have not been behind a large bus, you got a couple of weeks. Come on in, make an appointment. We will make our time available to you to take you out and give you a refresher on that to get your skills back up to where they need to be. So what added protection be given to the drivers, i.e. plastic around the area and other modifications to the bus? Well, I'll tell you right now, the only protection available to you and the most effective protection is your face covering. Bar none is your face covering, right? You can wear gloves if you so choose, but remember, they caution against that because they know once people put gloves on, they think that they're safe and they're going to start touching their face and doing all that with their gloved hand and touching surfaces and retouching their face. And that's not a good way to go. So, but that is available to you. DOT, as you can see here on the slide, they will not approve barriers. They will not approve shower curtains, and they will not approve bottles of hand sanitizers on the school buses. Matter of fact, they went as far as to say they don't want drivers and bus attendants to have hand sanitizers on their person. That's DOT. I cannot affect that change. Just remember, face covering is your main protection and the most viable one available to you. The safety coordinator for the district, as you can see here at district level, it's Becky Carmen and Jill Bush. Here in the department, obviously it's me, and Bernie is my backup. So will you be required to give out a mask if the students don't have one? And what happens if they refuse? Again, this is a point we covered before in the other meeting, and I'll cover it again. The answer is yes. Each bus will have 10 extra face masks available to them. And if a student comes to the bus stop and they don't have one, you'll offer one. You highly recommend that they wear it. And if they don't, do not get into an argument with them. Don't kick them off the bus. Don't send them home. Don't do any of that. Simply let them board the bus. And if you have the space, move kids away from that individual at least 6 feet or to the extent possible. And then you must ASAP, report that student to us so we can report the student to administration, and hopefully they will take the corrective action moving forward. We're not going to give the same student a mask each and every day. We're not going to do that. All kids will also be issued a Shen face mask for use by them. All right, so now let's talk about the questionnaire. Are you required to do the questionnaire daily? The answer is yes. This is the self-check. Some of you who've worked this summer, you've gotten used to it. I'm pretty sure you'd all agree it's pretty easy. It takes me about tops, maybe about 15 seconds once I open the form to hit the half a dozen questions on it, enter my name, department, and move on. For those of you who have not seen it, I'm going to walk you through what it looks like. This is like the first page when you open up this form. And by the way, you will get, all of us working will get an email every morning. The district sends it out automatically around, I don't know, 4:15, 4:30. And then for those substitutes who don't have a Shen Gmail account, we have the morning dispatcher that will send the same link to this form out to those folks when that person comes to work. So this is the form, and on the bottom here, bottom left, you know, after you read it, right, you'll hit next, and you go to the next page. The next page has a pictograph on it, and it shows someone, you know, like shaking. They got a fever, chills, sweating. The temperature is over 100 degrees. New or worsening cough, shortness of breath, difficulty breathing, muscle or body aches, unrelated to physical activity, a new loss of taste or smell, unusual worsening sore throat, nausea, vomiting, or diarrhea. So just a picture graph to explain to you, kind of show you, are you experiencing any of this stuff? And you get that answer in your mind, you simply click next, and now you go to the form itself. And you can see where it says last name. Don't click on that. You want to click on your answer right below the last name. And then you type in your last name, below that your first name, you pick your department, simply touch that circle, and it will take you to the next shot. The next shot, again, has the same pictograph. And on top, this is the top of this same page, right? And I kind of threw this red arrow to highlight. What it's asking you is, no, answer yes only for symptoms that you cannot explain or have reasons to believe may be COVID related, right? So for example, I haven't played basketball in 3 years. If I get a call Wednesday to go play basketball with my pals, of course I'm going to be sore the next morning. Guaranteed I will be sore. So does that have anything to do with COVID? No. Can I explain it? Yes. So, and the reason for this is because the next question you have to answer is, it says today or in the past 24 hours, have you had any of these symptoms? Again, the temperature, the vomiting, diarrhea, the cough, the body aches, loss of smell, sore throat, all those things, right? Unexplained. And then you have a choice. Yes, I have symptoms I cannot explain, or no, I do not have unexplained symptoms. And then you click on next. It takes you to another question. Have you traveled to a state on the New York State COVID-19 advisory list in the past 34 days? Again, a yes or no. On this one here, I just clicked it to show you what it would look like once you click inside that circle. And if you need to know the states, there's a link on here to the most current list. Again, you click next. You go to the next question. In the past 14 days, have you been exposed to anyone who is confirmed positive for COVID-19? Not maybe you think, or whatever. It has to be someone who is confirmed positive. Again, it's a yes or no question. You click next. If you've clicked no for everything, you're going to get the smiley green face. You simply come to work. We will have this information. We can look on the back side of this report, and look at the spreadsheet to see who has answered what. If you click yes to any one of those questions above, you're going to get this red face with a thumbs down, and it'll tell you stay home, inform your supervisor. In any case, whether you think your sickness is COVID related or not, we're not changing the process of you picking up the phone an hour before your showtime. Call dispatch, and we will advise you from there. Very simple. If you do say yes to any of those questions and you get this red face and you call dispatch, we have a list of questions that the Department of Health for the county needs for us to answer, right? So we will be asking you those questions, and you will answer those questions. Another question that has been asked, is there a plan for employees that talked about return to work? The answer is yes. That has been shared already. Links have been sent out from HR to list all SHEN. And if you haven't read it, that's your problem. You should be reading anything we send out or DO sends out. And I will ask HR to do it again and send it out before we start working, so you have the latest and the greatest information out there. Just know that there is a plan. It's been communicated, and we will communicate it again. So let's get to, we're hearing that there are some employees that are saying, well, they can't bid online because they don't have data phones, and they don't have Wi-Fi, and they don't have this, and they don't have that. Appreciate all that, right? So, but there are strategies for you to get out there and bid online, right? And one of them is work with another colleague, just so long as you maintain social distancing and face covering. A lot of you have your own little inner circle, and I guarantee you somebody within that circle has a computer, has a data device, or whatever the case might be. You can also go, if you have the data plan, but you don't want to use it as an example, you can go to the public library parking lot. Just get close to the building, stay in your car, log on using the free Wi-Fi. Shen campus, same thing. Pull up, park, stay in your car, and then log on to the public Wi-Fi for Shen. You can go to Starbucks, Mickey D's, and any other place that offer free Wi-Fi. If you're having problems connecting through your devices, call us. We have helped a lot of people over the summer to get them on their email, on their Shen Gmail, to get their phones so they have Gmail on it and they can read all the email that's coming out of the district. We've helped them with their laptops. We've helped them with their tablets. We got a crew here in these office spaces that are well-versed in technology, and they're really going above and beyond their job description to help you, our colleagues, get connected. So stop resisting, stop with the excuses. There's a workaround any problem. Trust me, there's a workaround. So if at the end of the day, anyone still can't do any of these strategies, make sure you call me personally so we can develop something for you personally to make sure that you can, at the end of the day, bid and get the work that you want. Communication and personal safeguards. You know what? We all have to follow the mandated guidance. There's no two ways about it. I know some of us are politically charged, and some of us are saying, you know, this is a fake virus, or, you know, this is just like the flu. I get all that, but I'm not here to debate with anyone. What I'm here to do is enforce. And if you recall my first meeting with you here a little bit over 6 years ago, right? I told you, I will force the rules and regulations and policies and procedures. That's what they pay me to do. That's what I'm going to do. So I need you all to follow these mandated guidance, and you have no issues. It's as simple as that. You know, the bottom line to staying healthy and being able to operate and work in this COVID pandemic environment is for you to communicate with us regarding your health, asking for information, and following all the guidance and protocols that we've put in place. You know, it's disheartening when we are working hard here, right? And I hear that people are still having problems, and it's the first time I'm hearing about it, because those quote people have not come to me, to Bernie, to Anastasia, to anyone of us here to help them resolve that issue. That's very disheartening. And honestly, it just speaks volumes of the professionalism of that individual. So, and as the last bullet states on this slide, it says, you know, success really, it talks about success, and success in meeting our mission and for all of us to remain healthy and safe, it's really contingent on cooperation by and between all of us. Flexibility on everyone's part is paramount. Personal responsibility. We need to take personal responsibility in order for us to secure our work and to secure our health. I can't do it all for you. Neither can Bernie, neither can Judy, neither can Jelna. There's a personal responsibility that you need to take. It is that simple, right? And communication, communication, communication. If I don't know, I cannot help you. If Bernie doesn't know, she cannot help you. Going to other people outside your chain of command, it's not going to get the job done. You come here first. That's the expectation, folks. And make sure for those of you within your circles, those in your circle that are on this call, make sure you're repeating this kind of stuff to them. And hopefully this thing will record and I will share it with everyone just as well. So just as we, since the shutdown started, have really endeavored to share information with you to keep you up to date on what was and is going on still, we need you to communicate with us and make time to read emails coming from both the DO or here at Transportation and to comply. It's simple, right? That's how life can be, that simple. It's through compliance. We're not asking you to do anything that's going to be hurtful to you, trust me. So, having said all that, I'm going to stop sharing this and get back to the main screen and open up for questions. So, we can do one of two things. We can, you can submit your question through the chat, which a lot of you did before, and I see there's a bunch of stuff in here. And maybe Anastasia can read some of them. And I will, again, endeavor to answer those to the best of my ability, and or one at a time, you can turn your mic on and ask me a question. So let me see, Dan Hart says, recently studies have shown that gators, depending on the material used and masked with exhaust valves, if not covered from within, although better than nothing, are the least effective. Are these going to be acceptable to wear? That is a personal choice. If you want to wear the gator or the N95 with the valve, that's a personal choice. Yes, you can wear that. No one is saying that you can't.
Okay, Al, does anybody have any questions that we want to open up, and then I'll start reading through the chat for you?
Yeah.
Anybody have any questions? Just unmute your mic and go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, this is Bill Kuhn. You say that we can't bring a hand sanitizer on the bus anymore. I understand that. I usually carry like a little 2-ounce bottle in my pocket. I know that we can't, but I'm sure the kids will have them in their backpacks. Is that a problem?
No, Bill, it's not a problem. And quite frankly, I don't care if you have it in your pocket. I know what DOT is saying, but you know what? If it's in your pocket, it's in your pocket.
Okay, thank you.
I'm not going to inspect your pockets.
Thank you.
Yep. Good question.
Anybody else with a question? Go ahead and unmute your mic and go ahead and ask your question.
Is the school, this is Chip, is the school calendar still staying the same? We start the Wednesday after? And all the calendar dates are correct still?
All right, so the calendar officially, it's not really out yet. They're still working on that. We should have something official on Friday, sometime Friday on the calendar. And if you listen to the superintendent last night at the board meeting, he's proposing that the first 4 days after Labor Day be professional development and orientation day for kids. And the first official school day will start that following Monday. But all that should be coming out officially come this Friday.
Lorraine, I saw that your mute was off. Did you have a question for Al?
Yes. I was wondering, for the health screening, is it mandatory that we take our temperature every day?
Okay, that's a very good question, Lorraine. Is it mandatory for you to take your temperature every day? No, the district can't mandate that. There's no way to enforce a mandate like that, but we highly recommend that you do that, especially if you think you're feeling under the weather, right? I do that at home. I take my temperature, and I'm sure you guys do that as well. But no, there's no way we can mandate that. We are asking that parents, take the temperature of their kids, especially if they're feeling sick, and not put them on the bus and not send them to school, which really should be happening in normal times at any rate.
Okay, I see another phone number that's unmuted. It's a 518 and it ends in an 86. I'm not sure who that is.
Well, mine is unmuted. This is Ken. Can you hear me?
Ken, I do hear you. Go ahead and ask your question.
I was a little distracted when you were talking about cleaning the bus cell. I know the video talked about when we're done with our block. We park a bus and then we clean the bus. Now, were you saying something that we would do cleaning prior to reaching that point?
Yeah, so you're not going to clean the bus per se. You're going to sweep it and empty the trash like you typically do. You're not going to sanitize it when you're done after your morning runs are over with, and then after all your afternoon runs are over with. We're going to use a sanitizing machine. What I've been saying is each bus will have a spray bottle with a disinfectant. You will spray down in between runs. So if you're doing a high school, before you start your, let's say, elementary, for example, just pull over somewhere and spray down those highly touched areas and wipe them down. Doesn't take no time flat to get it done.
Okay. And then at the end of the block, too, we also sanitize them.
No, I don't want you to sanitize them.
Okay, that's it. Okay, that's it. Okay.
We are going to use sanitizing machines to do that. You park them, and we will sanitize them. What I want you to do at the end of your block, whether you do it in the morning or in the evening, is to make sure it's swept and the garbage is disposed of.
Okay, got it. Every day, got it.
Yes, sir.
Okay, again, I'm still seeing a 518 area code ending in 87. Your mic is on. Do you have a question?
Yeah, I got a question now. So during the school year, they provide us with the Clorox disinfectant wipes, so we've always been able to keep them on the bus. Will we continue to be able to get those from dispatch?
If we have them and if you need them, and the reason I say if, hopefully you've been keeping up on the news, the maker of Clorox wipes, their stock is still very, very low, and they don't anticipate being able to, stock up and then stock up all the stores till late 2021. And the reason for that is these kinds of masks, the same material that's used in these masks is also used to make those Clorox wipes. And where do you think the priority is going between the wipes and these? Right here. That's the priority. And that's why there's a shortage on that. And we will definitely get some of those wipes and make sure they're available. But if not, this is why we purchased those spray bottles. And we have plenty of rags that George will keep a large supply of that to make sure that, we can hit those highly touched areas in between runs.
So the rags will be thrown away. They're used one time, done with the rag.
Yeah, you're done with the rag. Just we're not going to do it. We're just keep the rag on the bus for the day, and then you can get rid of it at the end of the day. That's fine.
Okay, good. Thanks, Al.
Yep.
Okay, the next phone number that I see that's muted is a 718 area code ending in 89. I'm not sure who you are, but if you have a question, please feel free to ask Al.
So let me answer Courtney's question. Can you post the new hours? We will be doing that. We're still tweaking them a little bit with the elementary schools. As of yesterday, believe it or not, and this is why I said earlier, I said in the prior meeting, I've said in emails, we have to be flexible. Every day presents us different challenges, different questions, different take on things, and you know, we keep tweaking and tweaking. So yes, Courtney, we will post the new hours as soon as we can. And Chip asked, how are we doing the safety meeting? Believe it or not, SCD being okay, I don't want to say what they're being, but anyway, what I'd like to do is do it virtually, but they're saying we can't do that. We got to have you in a room with an SBDI in the room present, even if we were showing you a video. So my thought is right now we will do a safety meeting on the 19th, and I will be sending out an email that will give you a link to that. We will do it virtually. It'll tell you the time, how long we're going to span it, but we will be doing it on the 19th. So that will come out the next day or two. The mandated topics, I'm still mulling it in my head as to how we need to present that, and more to come on that. So good questions.
Al, Heather was unmuted. Do you have a question, Heather?
I was asking about the safety meeting.
Perfect, thank you.
Let me see, Michelle asked, will seats be marked off to assist with social distancing requirement, tape with X's and that? No, we're not going to do that, Michelle. Some districts are doing that. They're actually doing the actual 6 feet on the bus. I don't know how they're able to meet the transportation requirement across the board. That brings you, if you're doing on a large bus, that brings you to 11 kids per bus. There's no way we can transport everybody we need to transport having 11 kids on the bus. We have opted to go with percentage 50 to 75% capacity. That's how we're routing. And again, the guidance says everybody will wear a mask if you cannot obtain social distance. And we're forgetting that piece, right? So, for example, if I want to hold a meeting with me and Bernie here, we can actually be 6 feet apart and more. And if it's more, I don't need this. But if it's closer than that, then I need this and she needs it. Same concept on the school bus. What else?
Al, we had a question in regards to recording the meeting, which I know you did mention, and that is a yes, and we're hoping that that actually works out. But we have a question from Carrie Lewis that I'm not sure if it was addressed, was, will we be able to take our masks off for a little bit if we were on the bus alone with no children?
So here's the thing. If I say yes, what do you think is going to happen?
People are going to get infected.
The incident we had here were 2 adults on the bus, no students were involved when masks were not on. When the student boarded, then the mask went on, one properly and one not. So if I say yes, you know, I can be reasonable. If you're the only one on the bus and nobody else is on the bus, I say, yeah, go ahead, take it off, right? Or drop it down, whatever. But if there's another person, I don't care where they're sitting, you're wearing that mask. You're wearing that mask. And I don't want to see anything different.
Okay, next question, I believe has been answered from Dennis. Many students carry hand sanitizer on the backpacks. Do we have to police this now?
No.
Okay. Michelle Fish, clarification for the hand sanitizers. So not allowed to have small one on our keys or bags. I believe you answered that as well.
I have. You know, what you're carrying on your person, I don't care.
Okay, Elise has got a question. Will we be reporting students via email to Bernie who are not wearing a mask on the day they are not?
You can do it by email ASAP, so long as you're not using it while you're, you know, driving a bus or whatever. Or just do a quick note somewhere, drop it off. That's fine. But it has to be reported ASAP. What I don't want is if, you know, you're coming off your morning run and Al is being reported as not compliant, and then we don't hear about that until, you get off the bus in the afternoon. I want to know about it ASAP. Don't go home and then come back and report it. Don't go home and then report it. So between the time you get off that bus, you park that bus, and you hang the key, you should be reporting that. So we can get that straight to the school principal so they can take immediate action. And we're not dealing with the same stuff, you know, again and again and again.
Okay, Elise asked a question about the link for the August refresher. We just mentioned that. At least that will be coming in the next coming days. And as for the lecture part of that, Al is still working on that piece. Michelle Fish, we answered your question about the X's on the seat. We answered Chip's question on safety meetings. Courtney Habenack asked if we can post the new hours of the day.
I already answered that.
Okay, perfect. I missed that. I apologize. And what is happening with snow removal is a question from Lorraine Hollins.
Well, Lorraine's going to come here with her snowplow, and she's going to remove it.
Good job, Lorraine. Good job.
So snow removal is snow removal. Nothing is going to change, COVID or no COVID. You know, a lot of you wear stuff over your face anyway when it's that cold out here. So, no, you know, we'll have to maintain social distance, obviously, and we got to do what we got to do to clean the snow. That won't change, Lorraine. Good question. Go ahead.
And a nice kudos from Michelle Fish. She's thanking the department and appreciate how much information we've all provided and shared. Very helpful, well communicated to the employees.
And I appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate those comments. And honestly, I would not want to do anything less for you guys. I want to do more. And I wish I could, right? And there's just not enough time in the day. And I wish everybody in the department would jump on these meetings, because what is disappointing when people go to other places and other folks outside this department, they make time to do that and complain instead of making time to come here to get an answer to their concerns. That ties up people outside this department. That ties me up. You know, I have to sit back and explain and show and tell it, while we have a lot of irons in the fire still to get us ready to open up safely.
Okay, got a few more questions that have popped in. Al, Elise has asked, if the health department calls us through the contact tracing protocol and we are told to get tested, we are out of work until we get a negative result, I presume. Can you tell us if we need to use our own sick time?
So initially, that's how we will do it. And my understanding is that the HR will go back. You know, if you meet some certain standards related to COVID, related to the Department of Health protocols, they will go back and credit you that time. That's my understanding of how the process works.
And also on the payroll side, that's the same thing for me too, folks. So I will be charging that until I am told otherwise from the district office. So that's how that'll go. Chip Chamberlain, thank you for clarifying, because I had no idea what you were typing there for a second. We will sign up for, it says PT for winter, spring, summer now. So I'm guessing field trip, it says. We will sign up for field trip for winter and spring and summer now. Is that correct?
Is that how you're going to do it, Bernie?
Yes, we're having the sign up now as we normally do it, just on the off chance that they may decide come January that now we're going to start doing trips. That way we'll be already prepared to go. So that's just in preparation of the fact that it could happen.
Perfect.
I also just wanted to add on to Elise's health question in regards to protocol. If the Department of Health still notifies you that you need to be on that quarantine, you still need to report your time accordingly. So you still need to notify your supervisor every day that you are still under quarantine. So you are still required to do that, okay? Next question is, what about 2-hour delays? How is this going to affect drop-offs?
I bet you that's a Chris Webber question.
It is the Chris Webber question.
Go figure. Hey, that's a great question. And you know what? That's something that we will have to actually circle back with the superintendent on. Again, because such a short day, I don't see us, I mean, just talking right now in general, you know, bringing anybody in 2 hours later and then what? Turn around 2.5 hours later and take them home. I don't know, Chris. Again, this is a clear example where there's still a lot of unknowns ahead of us, and how are we going to deal with those unknowns? It's a great question. I'll make a note, and that'll be on my list of things to track down for you.
Okay. My colleague Michelle also just reminded me of something also on the question on the Department of Health. HR is going to be communicating with you guys. If that ever happens, do not ignore their emails. Respond to them. Respond to what they're asking for. They might be asking for paperwork from the Department of Health that advises you to stay home. Do not ignore those calls, and don't come see Michelle and I. We are out of that loop. It is 100% at the district level. Communicate with them, and then just communicate with your supervisor that you are out. That is the biggest keys that we can provide to you. So thank you, Michelle, for that information and the reminder.
My understanding also is that someone from the county Department of Health, if you're a true COVID case, will be bringing you the paperwork to your house. So you may see strangers knocking on your door.
Absolutely. I've heard that as well, where they just come directly to your door and provide you with that information. Next question that I have is, one more question from Michelle Fish. You previously discussed staggering dismissals and loading. Who will be more responsible for this? Will school staff come and tell when it's time to dismiss this bus, or will there be a staggered loading at the end of the day?
Yes, school staff, both in the morning and the evening, will be in control of that. We are, part of our plan is to have you arrive staggered, offload staggered, and in the afternoon load staggered and leave staggered. So we will have to, again, you got to keep in mind, no one in the district has done this before. So the first few days probably be chaotic, but between me, Bernie, maybe one of the dispatchers, the trainer, head trainer, will go out there and we will help both you, our colleagues, and our colleagues on the instructional side to do this stagger arrival and dismissal where, you know, it's safe and it makes sense. The key for you as transportation folks is not to open the door and let kids out, number one. Number two, make sure, unlike prior years, when you pull up, your students remain seated. This must be orderly. I can't have kids on top of kids and they're all rushing out the bus like I've seen at different bus sports. It's got to be orderly. We got to keep talking with the kids. We got to tell them maintain 6 feet distance as they're getting off that bus and going into the school. Very important. You will play a huge part in that.
Okay, so a couple more comments and then questions. Chip Chamberlain says, thank you for the information. Maria McDermott says, thank you so much for all this great information. Ken Burek, seating, only family members can sit in the same seat? Question.
That was the initial way of trying to get around the seat capacity issue. But since we are adopting the 50% to 75% model, you're going to have kids sitting next to kids who are not necessarily from the same family.
Okay. Chris Weber, thank you, Al, for the presentation. A lot of great information has been provided. Jennifer Colazzo Chavo, I'm saying that wrong, I'm so sorry. Will HR also communicate with subs? I can actually answer into that too, and I know Al can. We are forwarding information to you. So as soon as Human Resources sends it to us, that's why we have done our due diligence when this all happened in getting substitute emails for personal email addresses so we can communicate with you. And a lot of the information also from the district is posted right on the ShenNet website. Under the staff resources page, you can find a lot of that detail as well. Michelle Fish, again, thank you. Justina Vetter, which might be our last question. Maybe this has been answered already, but how does it work if someone on the bus has been identified as a person with the virus? Will the whole bus go under quarantine?
All right, so great question. The quarantine piece comes from the Department of Health. It all has to do with the contact tracing that they conduct and the questions that they ask of those involved. And the big piece of all that in terms of quarantine or not is this. Was this warned or not? Was it properly warned or not? that will determine who will be quarantined or not, right? So that's really the general answer I can give you. They may not. I don't know. They may or they may not. A loaded question on the when we start school, and this has to be done across the board, not just with elementary.
Oh, good.
Each of you will have a modified attendance record, right? And what we've added to it, if you recall looking at those bus ridership attendance records, it has Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and checkbox, right? To help you check who's on the bus for that day and who wasn't. So now next to each day, there's going to be another bus, and above it, the column heading is going to be M for mask. You will need to check that. If they don't have one on, put an X through it. And check they got it, X they don't. That will determine who will get quarantined or not. That's going to be something that the district is going to look for. And that's going to be something that, for sure, the Department of Health is going to want. So this is another task you have to do at all three levels. There's no choice in the matter. Don't pencil whoop it. You got to be absolutely accurate.
Okay, so
Can I just add one thing here too?
go ahead, Brian.
This is a good time to put this in here with the contact tracing and all that. All grade levels will have to have assigned seats from the get-go, and they have to sit in those exact seats every day, because when you fill out paperwork, when there's a case, they want to know who is in range of where they could have been in contact to get the virus. But it's imperative, every grade level has to have an assigned seat. Thank you.
All right. So Terry Staniak says, thank you very much for the information. Lorraine Hollins stated that seating, working this summer as a tubing rafting driver, we're loading people from the back of the bus towards the front so that people don't cross each other. In that light, would it be a good idea to have students picked up first to go to the back of the bus and so forth going forward on the bus?
You know, I've pondered on that a lot. And what you're going to end up happening is, especially the elementary level, you're going to have kindergartners in the back. I'm not so sure that is worth the risk either. So my thoughts on that is no. Load them in the assigned seat. This way they go straight to their seat, an orderly fashion. And I don't think the risk is going to be any greater or any less, whether we load front or rear to front or straight to the seat. I think the risk is the same. And, you know, we minimize that by making sure that everybody's wearing a face mask. And if not, get them in compliance through the school principal. And for you to make sure that windows are open, are cracked open, so we have positive ventilation at all times, whether you're sitting still or you're moving. All those will help to negate the effect of this virus.
Okay, I think that answers your question, Elise. You had stated in there, correct? Okay, she's giving me a thumbs up that answered her question. That's wonderful. Chip Chamberlain, I think your question was just answered as well. Assigned seats for all grades. That is yes. Bernie and Al just did mention that. Justina Vetter says thank you. Chip Chamberlain says thank you. Donna Dunstan, will safety drills still be conducted in the same manner?
Yeah, I knew somebody was going to ask about that. It'd be Donna Dunstan. So actually, yes, we will be doing the safety drills. And the modification to the safety drills is that you want social distance. And again, you don't want all the kids to get up and all the kids to rush to the back or rush to the front, like we typically see, the pushing and the shoving and all that. It has to be done methodically. And you will note that the safety drill sheet that you typically speak off of, we've changed them and modified them to put some text in there that deals with COVID, which we have to address bus stops. We got to tell them, make sure they're maintaining social distancing at bus stops, so forth and so on. So those have changed. We will do them, and we'll go over some more on how to do that.
Okay, so Chip Chamberlain, load front to, or back to front. So we did just answer that for you, Chip. Students just need to have their face masks on in regards to it. There's no benefit in either side of that. Jen Colazo Chavo, approximately how many students per run is a 50 to 75% capacity is the question. I believe we answered that.
Depends on the grade level, upwards of 33.
I didn't see that.
I think in like, I don't know, 20 some on the adult side. I don't have that off the top of my head. It's on another spreadsheet.
Okay, sorry, Chris, I missed your question when I skipped over you. I apologize. Will all seating charts have to be in place by the first day of school?
Absolutely, because some happens typically. So if we wait, for example, but somebody, a kid gets sick or an adult gets sick or whatever, and you know, it's a positive, they want to trace back to 2 days before the symptoms started. So we can't do that if we don't have a seat in chart in place, right? So yeah, all that actually, you can set up your seating chart and force it from day one by putting it together after you bid, and you get all that information. You get your outlines. You can create your own seating chart from there.
Okay, question from Elizabeth Myers. How do I know if students are keeping masks on?
Liz, that's a great question, and you're not, because you all well know, once you, the driver, is seated and they're seated, especially the young ones, you don't know. It's going to be, you know, hit and miss. But if you know when they board the bus, that's when you want to check that box that yes, they have. And if there's a question that comes through contact tracing, we would then fall back onto the videos and try to determine from inside the videos or inside the bus using videos as to whether a child or a set of children didn't have that mask on.
Okay, Chris Weber is saying thank you for that. However, I was seeing, I believe that was Doug Maloney's phone with an open mic. Did you have a question, Doug?
No,
Yeah, what I was going to ask was along the lines of the video. You know, this is all hard drive. So relevant to the seating chart on any given moment, I mean, you can revert back to the hard drive. You know exactly who was on the bus, how long they've been on the bus, whether they even got on the bus. Is that not correct?
well, we can, but that's not going to substitute. Yeah, I just want to make clear that's not going to substitute for the attendance form.
Right, I understand. But my thinking is that the county health department wants to know.
Yeah, sitting down and viewing video is highly time consuming.
Well,
And the first line of facts, if you will, is going to come from you guys, from the forms. If we need to, then we can go back to the video and look at who got on, didn't get on. And just so you all know, the videos for the kids, we probably get around 80 to 85% of the kids and see what they're doing. There are some hidden spaces that we simply don't see the detail that we need to see.
Laurel, you have your mic open. Do you have a question?
No, I didn't even realize that I was at the meeting because my name never came up. Thank you.
You're welcome. You've been here, Laurel. We've seen you in there.
Okay, thank you.
You're
I keep
welcome.
losing you.
I've got a couple other questions that have popped in here. Justina Vetter, you talked about a shortened day. Can you tell us just what that would look like?
Well, shortened day, for example. So let's take a look at the high school. The staggered drop-off will start just before 7:40 and 7:40, 45, somewhere in that neighborhood. As you all recall, we were dropping right at 7:10 at the high school. So that's a big 30-minute change. And they would let out, 2:40 in the afternoon. We will now be loading them, again, staggered, about 2:10. That's high school east, around 2:18. High school west. Middle school, it's 9:30 to 3:15, and elementary is 8:30 to 1:40. So that's pretty much what it's going to look like. The drop-offs, just so you know, and I'm going to say this because I know how you guys are. I've been doing this job for 20 years. A lot of us are in a rush, right? We get in, we want to drop off, we want to get back here and park the bus and go do what we typically do after our morning runs, and vice versa in the evening, right? That rush, we got to get away from it. That mindset of I got to be first, that mindset of I got to offload and get the hell out of here, I'm telling you right now, it's not going to work for us. It will not, because we envision the morning drop-off staggered and the same for the afternoon is going to take more than the typical 10 minutes. It could be 15, it could be 20. All right, we have to experience that to get an average. And then we got to get the routes to calm down and then get an average. We're not going to do it in 10 minutes. I'm telling you that right now. It's not going to happen. All right, mindset has to change. What else?
My microphone was off. Sorry about that. We have a couple other questions that are in here. So we just spoke about Justina with the shortened day. Lorraine Hollins, after we are done bidding, can we obtain our run before the dry run and have a list of children so we can work on the seating chart for the bus?
Is Tammy on there? I don't know. When they get that, Bernie? When do they get the printouts?
Yeah, they'll be done the day of. Tammy only has 2 days to get them done from bidding, so we won't have them done.
Right.
And we won't have them done until the 26th.
Yeah.
Okay, but they'll definitely have.
And we gotta do what we gotta do, and then run the system, and then printing. That takes a lot of hours. So it's unfortunate, but no, we can't have that quickly.
They'll definitely have plenty of time, the staff, to do those seating charts between.
Yeah, there is time. Yeah, after bidding, there is plenty of time.
Ken Burek, will we be allowed to make changes to the seating charts? Can't speak right now.
Wait a minute, I'm offended because it's all caps. Is he hollering at me?
He is hollering. I don't know if he realizes that as he's chuckling. I can see him chuckling.
Yes, absolutely. You can make changes so long as we have it on record. All right.
Okay. Michael Iannapolo, as far as reporting students refusing to wear their masks, is there a formal form or just a verbal notification? And I believe we've talked about that, and communicate as soon as possible. Give me an email, give me a note, and if I'm available or Bernie's available, stick your head in there and say, hey, and don't say, this is what I need you guys to focus on, right? Because sometimes some of you come in my office, say, I got a problem with this. I don't know his name, but I know where he lived. Doesn't help me. I don't care about the stop. I don't care what they look like. I need a name. Get a name. Okay. Cheryl Blodgett, she cannot ask any questions. She kind of did it in two parts here, so I want to just make sure that I'm really reading this right. I believe your question is, Cheryl, is do we know the number of districts that are having shorter days? Is that the question, Cheryl? You can unmute your mic if that is not clear. Yeah, I think that's what she's asking for. The answer is no. I don't know who's having shortened days. None of that was communicated. We know, I think Emma Willard is not going right away. Yes, Belinda? She's shaking her head, yes.
That's correct. Emma Willard for the first month will be virtual, and then we really don't even know what they're going to do after that. So they could stay virtual. Yeah, and as we're answering, Emma Willard will be virtual the month of September, and we don't know what they'll do after that. And honestly, the only thing we know about private schools, parochial schools, is that by law, it doesn't matter what we're doing, we got to transport. So for example, if Shen goes 100% computer virtual learning and the private schools are open for in-person, we would have to transport. Cheryl, we lost you there. Did we answer your question? It looked like you dropped out of the meeting and then came back in. Yeah. What else? I just got a thank you from Justina Vetter. That seems to be the end of the questions. If anybody else has any other questions, now would be your time to unmute your mic and ask it, as I see no more questions in the chat.
Anastasia, can I ask a question for another driver who called in?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
They want to know about what happens when you get to a stop and somebody might have stayed overnight at someone's house and they just have a note from mom that they can get on the bus with a friend and they're at the morning stop.
All right, good question. So one of the things that we're going to restrict is bus passes for these same reasons. Unfortunately, like in this particular case, we can't take one kid and leave the other one there. What I would do is allow them to sit together and, again, let us know so we can communicate back to the parents, say, you cannot do that.
Cindy,
Any other
do you
questions?
have a question?
I'll take one more question, then we'll call it a day.
I got Cindy D on the line. It looks like she's unmuted. Do you have a question?
I don't want to
Yes,
talk.
then don't talk to me, but you have to. I have a question as far as dropping the kids off or whatever we're doing on campus. With parents choosing to bring in their own kids, buses dropping off kids, how is all that congestion going to be handled, number one? And number two, if we're staggering to drop off the kids and we're supposed to wait so many buses can go in at a time, did they put new roadways in for us to pull over that I'm not aware of?
No.
Why?
Yes, Cindy. So let me answer that question. We realize that traffic is going to be horrendous. And I'm thinking it should die down because a lot of parents aren't going to be putting up with that kind of traffic probably, after a couple of weeks of doing it. That's what I'm thinking. How are they going to handle it? Campus security is in charge of that, not I. The stagger, the way it's going to work, Cindy, not all the buses are going to show up and then park on the shoulder of the road like we typically do, waiting on you to come out in the afternoon. You got 15 drivers waiting on you on the side of the road because you're number one. So the way it's going to work is in the way that we have the routes timed is that you should be arriving like in 5-6 bus segments. You pull in, you offload, you get out of there. The next, 5-6 buses come in. That's how we got it spread out. And again, this is brand new. It ain't gonna work perfect. I'm telling you, don't expect perfection. The first few days, we're gonna have to get out there and work with you and everybody else to make it work. The traffic congestion is out of my control. There's nothing I can do for you. And no, there aren't any more new roads. There's one new road that was repointed, Cindy. I know you missed it the last time when you went on the grass, but that's okay. But no, there are no new roads.
You're funny. You're so funny, Al. Thank you.
Hey, I still got your heart sitting over there somewhere. See it on top of my big foot? See it? Yeah.
Place it where it belongs, Al.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
All right, all. Listen, if you have a question, please email. Don't wait. Don't let that question fester. Email me and put Bernie on that email. One of us will get back to you ASAP. Looking forward to having you back. I appreciate your understanding. I appreciate all your concerns. We will do everything we can to make sure the environment is the right environment for you. But I need you to work elbow to elbow with me, folks. I can't do it by myself. Neither can Bernie or anybody else. It takes a team. It takes a team to accomplish the job, right? To accomplish the mission. And I appreciate being part of your team. I really do. So have a great day, and we will circle back and look for more emails and links to videos and whatnot over the course of the next few days. Have a great day.
Thank you.
You're welcome.